Let me ask you something. When did you last finish a day and feel genuinely clear? Not just done, but actually light, settled. Like your mind was quiet and your body wasn't holding anything. If you had to think about it for more than 2 seconds, this video is for you. I am Pavla Blackmore, certified Yuen Method consultant, and today we are going into pillar 4 of this series, mental clarity and stress. This is the pillar that affects almost everyone I work with, regardless of what they came in for, because here is what I have learned. Mental exhaustion is rarely just a mental problem. It's an energetic one, and when you treat it at that level, something shifts that no amount of willpower or time management ever could. So let's get into it. In Yuen Method, we work with 6 levels of consciousness: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, psychic, and intuitive. And one of the most important principles, the one that explains so much of modern exhaustion, is this. The mind can weaken the body, and when it does, the body can't perform, no matter how much you rest, eat well, or try to push through. Think about what happens in your body when you are overwhelmed. Your shoulders come up, your jaw tightens, your breathing becomes shallow, your chest feels compressed. That's not a psychological experience, this is a physical one. Your mental state has directly altered your body's function. Now, multiply that by years, by chronic stress, by a nervous system that has been in alert mode for so long, it has forgotten what neutral feels like. That is where burnout lives. And here is what makes Yuen Method different from most stress relief approaches. We don't try to manage the stress. We go to the energetic root of what is generating it, the weakness in the field that keeps your mind running hot, keeps your body braced, and keeps your spirit depleted. Let me show you something I call the sequential weakness. It's the chain reaction that takes someone from everyday stress all the way to burnout, and it explains why people who do everything right still end up depleted. So the chain from stress to burnout. Stress, it's chronic activation of the stress response. Then it goes to overload, more input than the system can process. Exhaustion, the body starts rationing its resources, then disconnection, there is loss of motivation, meaning and feeling, and burnout. The system shuts down to protect itself. Each stage of this chain has an energetic weakness underneath it, and when you only treat the symptom, when you take a holiday, cut back on work, do some meditation, you feel better for a while, but the chain is still there. The weakness is still active, and sooner or later the patterns returns. Yuen Method addresses each link in that chain. We identify which weakness is primary, and we delete it, and the chain loses its power. Then let's talk about overthinking, because this is the one that almost every high performer, every executive, every parent with a full life comes to me with. You know what you need to do, or at least part of you does. But your mind will not stop generating more options, more risks, more what-ifs. You go to bed thinking, you wake up thinking, you make a decision and then immediately start second-guessing it. Decision paralysis is not a sign that you are indecisive. It's a sign that your mental level and your physical intelligence are disconnected. Here is what I mean by that. In Yuen Method, we distinguish between 2 sources of knowing. The analytical mind processes information sequentially, uses memory and logic, is heavily influenced by fear, past experiences, other people's opinions and assumptions. It's slow, loud, and often wrong about the right answer for your specific situation. And then we have physical intelligence, the body's innate knowing, faster than thought, not filtered by fear, gives a direct read on what's strong or weak for you right now in this situation. It's the compass that overthinking drowns out. So when we strengthen your physical intelligence and delete the weakness that keeps the analytical mind running on overdrive, decision making becomes quieter. Not careless, quieter. There is a difference between a decision made from clarity and one made from exhaustion. Yuen Method helps you access the first one. Anxiety is one of the most common things I work with and one of the most misunderstood. Most approaches treat anxiety as something to be managed, reduced, or coped with. Breathing exercises, grounding techniques, cognitive reframing, and these are not without value, but they operate at the symptom level. They help you function despite the anxiety. They do not remove the energetic pattern that generates it. In Yuen Method, we look at anxiety as a weakness in the field, often on multiple levels, simultaneously, mental, emotional, physical, and frequently with a deep root in the ancestral or past life dimension. The worry pattern, the looping of thoughts about what could go wrong, is especially common in people who carry an inherited anxiety. Their parents worried, their grandparents worried. The pattern transmitted not as a lesson but as an energetic inheritance, and they wake up at 3 a.m. running scenarios that are not theirs. So here is a question worth sitting now. How much of what you feel today is actually a response to today? For most people in chronic stress, the answer is not much. The nervous system is responding to accumulated triggers, old wounds, inherited fears, and collective patterns. A mild inconvenience feels catastrophic, a small uncertainty triggers full alarm. That is reactivity, and reactivity is exhausting, not just for you, but for everyone around you. Yuen Method does not make you less responsive to life. It frees you from the weight of accumulated reaction so that when something actually needs your attention, you can give it your full presence, not your fear. Let me explain neutrality, because this is one of the most powerful and most misunderstood concepts in Yuen Method. Neutrality is not indifference, it's not emotional flatness, it's not detachment, it's the state in which your physical intelligence has the clearest signal, where you can feel what is strong and what is weak, without the noise of reaction distorting the reading. So we have the neutrality pentagon. To be truly neutral, you must be strong in relation to all 5 states. Positive, so it means it doesn't pull you up into artificial optimism. Not positive, the absence of good doesn't destabilize you. Negative, it doesn't pull you down into fear or collapse. Not negative, the absence of difficulty doesn't make you complacent. Neutral, the resting state, empty, open, clear. When you are strong to all 4 poles and resting in the 5th, that's the neutrality. And from there, everything becomes clearer. Most stressed people live in a narrow band between positive and negative, being pulled by both. The mental noise of stress is largely the sound of that pull. Neutrality removes the pull and the noise quiets naturally. This is not a practice you do consciously for a few minutes and then lose. In Yuen Method, we strengthen neutrality directly in the energetic field, and it holds. And now, I want to come back to something I mentioned earlier, physical intelligence. This is the term Dr. Kam Yuen used for the body's innate knowing, the intelligence that does not think, does not analyze, does not second guess, it simply knows. And it communicates through sensation, strong or weak, clear or not clear. Most people have had access to this intelligence at some point, the gut feeling that proved right, the moment you knew something before you could explain it, the decision that felt obvious, even though you couldn't justify it rationally, That was physical intelligence. Chronic stress and mental overload systematically suppress this intelligence. When the analytical mind is in overdrive, the signal from the body gets drowned out. You start making decisions from exhaustion and habit rather than from clarity and knowing. In Yuen Method sessions, we strengthen the central processing system, the midline, spinal cord, brain, and cranial meninges to receive, process, and act on physical intelligence without the distortion of mental noise. For executives and high performance, this is often transformative, not because they become less rational, but because their intuition and their analytical thinking start working together instead of against each other. Their decisions become faster, cleaner, and less exhausting. So when you strengthen physical intelligence and delete the mental patterns that override it, the right answer is often the first one that comes before the mind talks you out of it. It's what I can see with my clients. And I want to speak directly to a few specific groups here because overwhelm looks different depending on who you are. For you, the challenge is really about capacity. You can hold a tremendous amount. The question is what it costs you and whether the cost is sustainable. The pattern I see most often is this: extraordinary performance on the outside, chronic depletion on the inside. The nervous system has been running on cortisol and willpower for so long that rest no longer registers as rest. You stop, but you don't recover. In Yuen Method, we address the energetic pattern that keeps the system on mode even when everything externally has slowed down. We strengthen the capacity for genuine restoration, and we delete the belief, often very deep, that stopping means falling behind. Overwhelm in parents is a very specific kind of exhaustion. It's not just the workload, it's the constancy, the impossibility of being truly off, the guilt that accompanies any moment of rest, the weight of responsibility that never fully lifts. There is also frequently an inherited pattern underneath parental overwhelm. Your parents were overwhelmed. Their parents were overwhelmed. The family field carries a collective energy of there is never enough time, never enough energy, never enough of me to go around. That's not just psychological. It's energetic and it can be changed. And for students, particularly those facing major exams or transitions, the mental exhaustion often comes from a very specific source. The gap between what you know and you are capable of and what your nervous system will actually let you access under pressure. Performance anxiety is not about intelligence or preparation. It's about the energetic weakness that activates under pressure, often rooted in fear of judgment, fear of failure, or a deeply held belief that your worth depends on the result. Yuen Method works directly with that root, and when it clears, the knowledge that was always there becomes available. So, before I close, I want to give you something you can use right now. Place one hand on the center of your chest. Take one slow, deliberate breath, and as you do with me the following statement, simply notice what shifts in your body. I'm strong enough to be mentally clear without effort. I release the pattern of using mental noise as a form of control. My physical intelligence is active, available, and trustworthy. I'm safe to stop thinking. The right answer will come. I release the exhaustion that does not belong to me. I'm strong in neutrality, neither pulled by fear nor pushed by pressure. And my mind serves my life. My life does not serve my mind. Did you notice anything? A breath that came more easily? a subtle release in your shoulders or chest, a moment where the mental chatter quieted. That's your physical intelligence responding. This is a starting point. A session goes much deeper, directly into the root of your specific pattern. But even this is real. Even this counts. So if this landed for you, if something in this video make you think, yes, that is it. That is exactly what is happening for me. I want to invite you to take the next step. One session will not solve everything, but it will show you what is actually going on at the energetic root, and it will begin the process of changing it. I work with clients online and in person. The first session is always direct work with your specific situation, not a consultation, not an intake. We go straight to the source. If this video was useful, please give it a like and subscribe. There are more pillars in this series coming. Drop a comment below if there is a specific aspect of stress or mental clarity you would like me to address in a future video. Thank you for being here.